Welcome back to ZZZ episode 8.
So we're talking about the Virtual Boy. We consider this more of a home console because it's really hard to take with you and go.
Yeah, no, this thing goes between a mobile handheld, like between the Game Boy. Because that's why it's called the Virtual Boy, because it's supposed to be like the Game Boy. But it's actually kind of fitting that it's gonna be the last one here. It's just weird.
Yeah, it's its own thing, and it's a good bridge to cross into the.
It's so weird.
Yeah, it's such an unfortunate console because it was an idea. It was a cool idea. Nintendo wanted just to make cheap. They really wanted something cheap to sell because this thing was cheap and then tanked. Like, I wish I went back and I had the money just to buy a ton of these because how cheap they went. It's cheaply made.
Let's talk. Yeah, the aesthetic. So this thing has a focus thing at the top because it's a virtual thing. You put your eyes in here, and usually you play it with a stand. A controller plugs in along with the power. It takes these flat cartridges. They're kind of like floppy disks, like almost.
Yeah. So the game fits right into your headgear.
Focus knob. It has an IPD, which I forget what that is. Iris point distance.
So it's like for depth and stuff.
Yeah. It has volume on here as well as a headphone port, although it does have its own speakers built in.
So it's a console. It's a piece of technology.
And it's red. They're all red and red and black.
It's red and then red what you see.
You know what? As far as aesthetics go, I think it's all right. Because it does look interesting. You want to know what this is, especially back around the time between.
If I saw it like this, okay. So if I saw it exactly like this without the stand, I would immediately be like, okay, so it has an attachment for the head.
Yeah.
Like a welder's thing. Like, I think that would be cool. It looks very cool. Like, it looks cool. I think if it wasn't just this flat red.
I don't know. I think the red, it draws you to it.
I think, like, if they did black and then they did, like, stripes or something like that, like, just something eye-appealing to make it just that cooler factor, I think it'd be cool. It just looks like a mess.
It's weird. It's
like, when you
weird.
look at it from afar, you're like, oh, shit, that's a Virtual Boy. But when you look at it close, you're like...
You can identify this from across the room.
But, like, when you get too close and you actually look at it, you're like, they made some choices on this thing.
Yeah. It feels like a toy.
Yeah. And they didn't know how to market it.
Yeah.
So,
I'm actually giving it a 7 just because I think it is pretty cool.
I'll stick at the middle of the road. It's cool. The whole concept of virtual gaming. Wow, that's their worst controller.
Yeah, so this controller, for those who haven't seen it before, it has these huge things, which actually has indents for each of your fingers individually.
2 buttons on the back.
These are the shoulder buttons, which are very worse than the Super Nintendo. 2 D-pads, a B and an A, a start and select on this side, and then the power for the actual consoles here.
And then there's a back part where you can have a power adapter.
Is that what that's for?
I think so.
I don't know what it's for.
I believe so.
Like a battery?
Yeah.
I don't know about that.
So, well, I think so you don't have to have it plugged in. I think the power can come off of that.
Oh, okay. Yeah, no, this is just it's a weird thing. It is a weird controller. It has 2 D-pads. Your thumb is not on B and A.
Yeah.
Which is weird and bad.
So it's not a good controller at all. I know I said like N64 controllers just bogus, but boy, there was nothing memorable about that controller besides the 2 D-pads, and that's not good.
2 D-pads for 2 D-pads. Now the gimmick is
virtual
reality.
In red.
It's in blood red. That's all it is.
It gives you the biggest headache.
It gives you headaches. It makes your eyes hurt.
It doesn't, like, your glasses can't fit into it because they just fog over from the heat. It's just a mess. And you have and the stand it comes with is you have to sit proper or slouch.
Yeah.
You have to like sit either proper to see it or you slouch down into it. So it's not good.
You know, the best way I found to play it was putting it on a table and then sitting on the floor.
Or you just lay back. Lay on your back and put it kind of like resting onto you.
Huh. No, I'm going to give it a 3, I think, because it works. But it's bad.
Oh, it's
so 5 is average, 1 is the worst. It's bad, but it works.
There are companies that tried to copy this. I think Tiger tried to, the Ratcon or whatever. It goes over one eye, and it's just a red thing that went over one eye, and you had to use both eyes to look and play your games. So I try to really mimic that. It's the best of what we had, but boy,
it's still bad.
It's still bad. So, all right, the commercial. Why did people buy this?
Well, I don't even know. They didn't actually.
It came from the third dimension with its own brain, its own voice, its own legs. There's only one problem. It needs your eyes.
What the heck?
Virtual Boy. See it now in 3D.
I'm scared.
It had a Terminator in it. Like they tried to do the Rob thing again, but worse. And
so
they
scary.
heavily put in red everywhere.
Yeah.
Like just to
But even like the virtual reality stuff they were trying to show was not real. It was fake.
Yeah.
You did not see a video game.
Yeah. It was a lie. That whole commercial is a lie. That's a bad, real bad. And they tried to do the gimmick off of like the Super Nintendo and stuff, like being like, you need this, and boy, you don't need it. Oh, okay, the release.
It came out with 4 titles. Marius Tennis, which is a good game. Actually, it's pretty all right. Red Alarm, Tellero Boxer, which I've heard Tellero Boxer is actually pretty cool.
And I hear pinball's good.
And Galactic Pinball.
Mario Tennis is good. It's actually slated as like one of the best games.
We're going fast on this thing because yeah.
There's nothing really. Boy.
Tennis
Was good.
The Power. This had no competitor. It had nothing. It's not. I mean,
Didn't the Game Boy come out before this?
yeah.
So they try to compete with themselves on something to take with you, which you can't take with you.
It's really weird.
You can't fit it in your pocket. You have to take a backpack with all these other things, and then if it doesn't have, you have to plug it into something.
It has so many cables.
Like I see like people. I've seen like things like they have it outside. People playing with I think other commercials. How are you doing this outside? Like why? Like what is the point? Like this should have been an add-on. This should have been an add-on for that. Thank God they didn't.
For the Super Nintendo?
Yeah. It should have been a gimmick add-on.
I'm giving it points because it worked.
In a world that if that came out as just not a standalone console, it would be cool as an additional thing without its own addition, like with its additional library, or you can play as the other library. That'd be sick.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I looked at the next category. Category. Yeah. Can I tell you guys what the hold on? I want to see what the score is. Are you ready for the official list of peripherals you can buy for your Virtual Boy? Shoulder harness. I don't even know what it looks like.
Thanks for watching. That's not 111. That's not 100. That's 2.
There's not enough statistics to determine the top 10 games, but we do have the top 5.
Wario Land, a fantastic game.
Wario Land is good.
Yeah,
Wario
fantastic
Land
game,
is
and they
fun.
need to re-release that.
Yes, Wario Land was the only game that that I think really needs to be re-released.
Yeah, Red Alarm, Galactic Pinball, Tellero Boxer, and Nestor Funky Bowling.
Cool, good old Nestor, based off Howard Lincoln and Nestor, the comic.
Yeah, the bowling game seemed cool. I remember I seen that. But Wario Land is tragic that it's stuck on this console.
It really is. Wario Land is going to get the points.
Yeah.
And it's not even many points because they don't even get to the top 10.
Yeah.
Nostalgia factor. Woo!
So as a collector, this is something you need.
Yeah, it's a good
This is
collector's
100.
item.
This is a collector item. It's a very cool talking board. And the coolest thing on it is learning about the history of it. Like there's so many good documentaries and stuff about it. I think it's Video Game Historian does a very good talk about this.
Yes.
And all these other things. So there's a really cool history that you learn about Nintendo and stuff on this. So like where I'm not nostalgic for the console itself, I love the history on why they tried to make this. And it's a really cool just talking point to have. Like it looks really cool. Like it's something like if you aren't a hardcore Nintendo collector, you want it. Like it's cool. Like you're never gonna play it, but I think it's a very cool console that people want. And I think it holds a 4.
I'm getting a 3 just because you brought up a good point there.
Yeah, I think definitely it's something like you want it, you never want to play it.
Let me get some points here. Wow. The lowest score in ZZZ history with a 42. I'm not giving it a star.
No, neither am I.
So congratulations, Virtual Boy, on being like almost twice as bad as Triforce Heroes. What did I say the number was? 42. Yeah, 42.
Takeaways on this, like I said, I man, this sucks.
So
Nintendo's biggest oopsies.
So the official ranking of our consoles are Virtual Boy with 42 points, followed up by the Wii U with 95, the Nintendo 64 with 98, followed up by the Wii with 112, the GameCube with 120. I'm sorry, I missed the NES at 102. I apologize. 126 for the GameCube. Switch for 130, and then the best is the Super Nintendo with 131 points.
I think a handheld might actually beat this.
You think a handheld
will beat? I think a handheld would probably beat the SNES.
So, as we head into the handheld, which will be the next thing, where this board will be changed a little bit because the controller is being replaced with portability.
Yeah.
Up on the board, so there'll be a new category on the next ZZZ. But this ends our series on consoles. Home consoles.
I'm happy. I had a feeling that SNES was gonna be the top. I really going into that. I knew that. Like GameCube was gonna. GameCube, I thought it was gonna tie with it. I'm really surprised how low it was.
Yeah.
I was more surprised. I thought I was gonna give it higher, but then the board kind of.
The board never lies.
The board's strong when you look at it and you try to critique. But yeah, next time we're gonna do some handheld consoles, which I'm very excited for.
Same.
There's a lot of similar consoles. The same thing they released 5 times.
See you soon.
See you, bye. Buy our shirts. Buy our shirts. Please buy our shirts. Please. Oh. Poor Virtual Boy.
Everyone, please pour one out for the Virtual Boy.